It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Board Game Knights.
Welcome to the Board Game Knights. I'm Jessica James.
I'm Christoph Schrader.
And I'm Sam Gillespie, and today we'll be looking at this cute little tin.
Forbidden Desert.
Forbidden Desert is a 2 to 5 player co-op game designed by Matt Leacock and published by Gamewright.
In a game of Forbidden Desert, players are working together to try and escape from a massive desert storm by trying to rebuild a lost magical ship.
Now the interesting part about this game is that it is a modular game board. It is made up of these 24 tiles placed in a 5x5 grid. Now this leaves one space left, and this space is the storm. At the end of every player's turn, you're going to be playing storm cards, which then move the desert tiles around, placing more sand on them.
There are 6 different player types that are dealt randomly at the beginning of the game. They contain special abilities or actions that are necessary to be able to defeat the game.
Now, to lose this game, there are lots of ways to lose this game. You either get buried by the storm as it goes up, buried when all sand tiles are gone, or one player, just one player, dies of thirst. Exactly. However, to win the game, you need to find all of the parts of the flying ship and return to the launch pad, which is hidden somewhere along one of these tiles.
Forbidden Desert is a really good game, actually. It's made by Matt Leacock, which is the same person that made Pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think that this is actually the better game.
Yeah, I actually never really got Pandemic. I never enjoyed it.
It was alright in my opinion, but it also had that problem of a similar setup every time, and it did sort of feel like going through the rounds once you've played it and once you've beaten it a couple of times. Whereas this one, because all the tiles are moving around, everything is randomly placed, there is no best solution. You sort of got to adjust your playstyle depending on what's been happening.
And you've also got to be careful because as you're going along, you've got to be careful that the places that you want to go don't get moved.
Yes.
At the end of every player's turn, the storm marker is going to be playing these different storm cards. So, storm picks up, great start. The storm marker is going to move up. We're going to draw even more of them.
Yes.
You die so easily.
Yes.
Storm is going
incredibly easily.
It gets exponentially harder as you go along. It may start out, we found 2 parts. We're going to do well right now. We've got lots of water.
Yes.
No.
And then...
It does a similar thing in Pandemic where the difficulty just ramps up all of a sudden if you're not paying attention, if you don't keep the things down. If all of those sand tokens get covered on all the tiles, you lose the game because there's too much sand to get anything done.
You're buried.
If you take too long, you'll end up having the storm just completely wash over everyone. If you are not careful, you can lose all your water. Everyone dies of thirst.
Or just one person dying of thirst.
Yes.
Because each person has different water levels.
Yes.
And some people can also hide in the tunnel so that way if the sun does beat down, they don't lose their water.
Yes.
So, you've got some people that have 5 as a max, and then you've got some people that have got like 3.
3, yeah.
And so they die really easily.
Yeah, and there's a very limited amount of water on the map, which means you have to move quickly, you have to be careful, try to end your turns in tunnels where possible.
Yeah.
The game will change every time you play it. Not just the tiles being placed randomly every time, but the character roles are assigned every time randomly.
Yes.
There is some debate over whether or not water carry is necessary to be able to win the game.
It's very helpful.
It is very helpful just being able to get that extra bit of water around to everyone.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is you can share water amongst other players, so you can often spend your turn trying to move to get that person that's about to die of thirst a bit
And
more
that's
water.
another big mechanic in the game is equipment cards.
Yes.
The tile that you start on, the wreckage, also has an immediate equipment card on it.
And a lot of other ones also do. So even if you excavate and don't get a part or information about where a part is, you can still get some gear so the turn isn't ever wasted. And that gear is good. All of it is fantastic. Jetpacks allow you to teleport around the map. Solar suns protect you from...
Solar shields.
Solar shields, sorry. Protect you from losing fuel.
June Blaster.
June Blasters can get rid of any amount of sand, because you can usually only remove 1 per action, so if there's a big pile of one that you need...
Also, if you've got 2 pieces of sand on there or more,
like this.
It blocks you from being able to move through there.
Unless you got the right class to move through it.
Exactly, Which is,
So you can end up being trapped, essentially, and spending your entire turn just clearing sand if you're not careful.
And if one person does get the gear, it doesn't suddenly become that person is more superior than you because they have the gear. No, that's everyone's gear.
Yeah, everyone can share it.
Everyone has to live.
Say that Jess had 4 nice items, including the secret water reserve, probably the best one. There's only one of these.
Yes.
You can immediately give water to everyone, 2 water to everyone on the tile.
Yeah.
You can just jetpack to them. And they can trade equipment with you. And
exactly. So it's very much everyone has to work together to work out where's the best way to use all of their gear and all their water, and also try and keep themselves safe. Another nice thing is that there are 3 tiles in there that have water,
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Actually, 3 of them look like
They
they
look
have
like they have water.
this one has a well.
One of them has a mirage.
That as well.
on it,
This has the
That's a
mirage.
yeah.
which means that you can all go, alright, let's all move to this one, reveal it, and we'll all get 2 water, we can keep going, and then bam.
And it's only
Yeah.
there for when you excavate it, so you have to time it very carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to move everything around very carefully.
I really like the what was it, the navigator for that. You can fling
yeah.
players 3 spaces at a time. It's
Yeah.
really useful.
Yeah.
So they can basically hide in a tunnel where they're safe from the sun beating down, they have to take a drink.
You can also move through the tunnels. So hopefully you get tunnels that are on opposite sides
So
rather
I
than right
flipped
next
the
to each
tunnel
other.
over. If
Yep.
there was another tunnel here, the 2 corners of the board would be considered adjacent to each other.
Yes, very handy. Now, another really clever thing about this game is how these pieces, all of these individual pieces, is placed on the map. So we'll find that there are tiles that look like this, and this says that the grey piece is in that particular
The engine.
column.
And then you'll find another one which says that the engine is in this
It's around here
particular
somewhere.
room.
It's the last one.
See, it's very hard to find them.
Really?
Really? Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah, good.
okay,
So this
so-
means the engine is in this,
This row and this column, which means that you have to now stand in this square and then use one action to grab the part.
But if you've got the storm that comes along and moves this, then
It's now here,
yeah.
or you can then move up there, and
Yeah.
so you could very much be.
The game is very reactionary.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
end up chasing the part around the map as the storm just keeps moving it around every time.
And then even after you get all of them, this is the problem we had with a 5-player game we played.
Yes.
Is that we had every single part. We all had lots of water, well, sort of lots
No,
of
we're
water.
a bit low on the
No,
water
no,
at that
that's
point.
what's
Because we
wrong.
didn't have a water carrier.
yeah.
Exactly. The storm was out of all the 6 characters, we picked 5 without the water carrier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go figure. And then you have to make your way to the launch pad. Everyone has to successfully get to the launch pad without dying of thirst, without being buried by sand, to build the flying ship and thus be on your way.
Now, here is the thing. There's when in a 2-player game, it's a lot harder to explore the map because you've only got 2 people going around the map, and the storm moves around a little
But-
bit. But when you get to that end bit, when you've got all 4 pieces, getting to the launch pad is easy. If you've got 2
Yeah.
jetpacks, you just jetpack there and
You
you
are
win the game.
also
If you've got
drawing
someone
less
nearby-
storm cards.
It ends up being about the same, but in a 2-player game, you have less ability to explore, but you can move to the launch pad easier. In a 5-player game, you've got great capacity to explore because you can just get everyone to go off in different directions.
But that
and
storm
stuff.
is going to be moving after every player's turn,
Yep.
piling sand.
That's true, but so that's where the balance sort of comes in, and that getting those 5 people back to that launch pad is really hard. So it sort of balances out in 2 different ways.
I just gotta say, we might have made this game sound a bit easy. It is not.
No,
we were
no.
playing it on easy and we lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only won. I think
We did
we've
have the
only
water carrier.
won 1 game that we played.
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
And we've played mostly on the novice and normal difficulty.
We did win the
levels.
one with the normal with the water carrier as a 2-player, so
That was
maybe
one.
that might be it.
Yeah.
And we actually won that by quite a bit.
But that being said, being a cooperative game, they have to be difficult. Otherwise, they're not rewarding. And thus,
Exactly.
they're not fun.
And it's also scalable. Now, that's the thing, is that this game is good for kids even. You can play it with just about any age.
It
The
took
tin
me-
It was
says
very
10
enjoyable.
plus.
Yeah.
It took me 2
Younger than
minutes
that.
to teach this to a group of 5 people, all new except for me, and we had an absolute blast. There were people standing around us watching
Because
and getting
it's
involved
pretty
with it.
Because it's co-op, it means that if you do have someone that has difficulty, you can go, well, you could go here. You know, you get a little bit of advice. You know, you got to be careful not to quarterback everyone, but, you know, yeah. It's quite
It
good
doesn't
though.
suffer as much quarterbacking as Pandemic did.
No.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty bad for it. Because there's lots of hidden information as well. So even seasoned experts won't know the best course of action because they might be running down to get to a tile that has just a gear on it. and
This
that's
is
it.
very open, which is good because you don't want to have hidden role sort of games when you've got kids or who
Well,
people
yeah,
who are
it's
younger. You know?
just it's very much a Matt Leacock sort of co-op game, but in a
Yeah.
good way. It's,
yeah.
I love the theme. The theme
The
grabbed me
theme,
immediately. It's really cool. Kind of steampunk with the equipment you got.
Yeah, I just love the little boat that they
The
give you.
art's
Yeah,
really
it's just
nice.
really cool.
Too.
Ancient flying ship.
Yeah, and it's real metal chest.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
It's like-
serious. Like seriously,
Yeah.
what can I say?
the navigation dial, the solar crystal, and then the little propeller.
Yeah.
It's
all
just
very nice.
cool. You know?
Alright.
It appeals to the child in all of us.
So let's all give our personal rating scores for this game. I'll start. I'm actually going to go all out and say that this is probably my favorite co-op game that I've ever played. So I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Wow, that's a very high score.
Yeah.
I can't find anything wrong with this game, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Not only the theme is good, but the way you play it's good. You feel good when you're playing it, which is something often they miss.
And it's tense.
I know.
Even, even though we lost that big 5-player game, it was at the
Still good.
last moment. We all had all the
Yeah.
parts, we were next to the launch pad, and then we died of thirst.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are you giving it?
I am going to give this one 8.5.
8.5. Yep.
Again, I agree with your sentiment that it is I have not played many co-op games, but Lord of the Rings is a really good co-op
Yeah.
game, but it's very different. This is nice and light, play with anyone, and adults and kids will enjoy it.
And it's just so
It's a real
interesting.
true family game that you can learn very easily.
Alright, and
I agree with the both of you. I'm sailing on a 9. This is really nice. Yeah.
very diplomatic of
No,
it.
So-
that's another middle.
So we
Yeah.
definitely recommend Forbidden Desert.
We hope you enjoyed our review of Forbidden Desert.
We've been the Board Game Knights, and we hope to see you next time here at the Dice Tower. What happened to him?
I think he died of thirst.
Huh. I suppose it means we die too?
I suppose so.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.